Hi everyone, my name is Linda Jenkins. I'm coming to you from Fresno, California today, and I wanted to talk to some of these owner-operators that have businesses and they're buying trucks and they're not paying attention to the rules and regulations. As some of you know already, I have started a business to assist people getting their DOT, FMCSA, FDA audits passed when it's in reference to transportation, whether that's on road or whether it's an actual audit like a new entrant audit. I had recently a gentleman who opened his business and he absolutely kept no records. He now has 2 trucks. He's just now actually just went from having 2 trucks to purchasing another one. So now he has 3 trucks. He is in the middle of an audit. Okay, I'm not going to give a name to identify this company, but you know, you can't take lightly what the California Highway Patrol person tells you when they are doing an audit and they tell you that it is the worst audit they have ever done in their life. You need to believe it. And those papers that you sign at the end of the audit before they give you another chance, those are serious papers, you know. So to help other people so that they don't face the same thing this gentleman's going to face, I'm trying to help him out, but I'm also trying to help out others, okay? Now, one of the things that I did for him is, I'm not going to show the front of this book, but I've created him a manual for his new hires. He had purchased, when he purchased the second truck, he of course brought in new drivers for that truck. He initially wanted it to be team drivers, and I understand that. That's no big deal. Everybody does that, you know. However, in the span of 1 year with 2 trucks, he had over 23 drivers. And of those drivers, he had nothing. He basically had just their employment application and a copy of their driver's license. Nothing about, you know, for the immigrants, you know, like their right to work, you know, paperwork, nothing on their training, nothing on their background. Just said, okay, here's a truck, drive it, you know. Basically just having the people out there and not paying any attention to safety or anything. So to help you guys avoid this same issue, because now I'm having to go back and clean up and try to get him established as an actual business, because just buying a truck does not allow you to do business. You have to go, you know, through everything. He has his MC number, he has his DOT number, but other than that, basically he kept no records. Okay, so I mean, I've even had to go to the school where the gentleman himself and one of his drivers that actually is still driving for him, where they actually got their schooling from. And the school is having problems finding their paperwork. So, you know, when you get your certificate, if you've graduated since 2012, when you get your certificate, that's something you need to hold on to, because you're going to need that information if you decide to swap companies or whichever. Now, I've already in a previous video went through this book with you. This is my manual book for what I kept in the truck when I drove. It gives my license agreement, my tax payment history, the fact that, you know, I have all of my permits, you know, New Mexico, stuff like that, Kentucky, New York for the HUT sticker. All of that stuff is in this binder. This binder is in the truck. It stays in the truck, okay? Now, the next binder that you'd have, you know, as an owner, is your binder that shows all of your information. Now, if you're going to be an owner-operator, you need to keep this in the truck with you. Have a copy at your office or at your home, but also have this one with you at all times, because if they decide to audit your business at a weigh station, which they perfectly have a right to, You need to be able to show them, you know, that you've applied for your business license, you've got your Bach 3 intact, and that you've, you know, signed up in a consortium, and that you have pull reports for your drivers. You need to keep that, a copy of it, in your truck with you, along with your driver manual, which is this one here, which is the permit book, okay? Now, let me kind of swap over. That is just the first thing for an owner-operator, okay? In addition to that, you also need to have manuals, okay? Manuals for your training area. That is going to help you make sure that you get everything done. You need, anytime you bring someone on, to at least allow, you know, 7 to 10 days for everything to process. You can't just hire somebody and the next day give them the keys, okay? You have to allow for that drug screen to come back, and you need to keep those results. You need to allow for his background check to happen, and, you know, his pull report if you're in California, your MVR if you're anywhere else in the States. You know, all of that stuff has to be taken care of, and it's going to take you a minimum of 7 to 10 days once you get ready to bring someone on. When you are an owner, it doesn't matter if you're an owner-operator or whether you're just an owner. If you're an owner, which is perfectly fine, in your office, you need to have a trainer who's capable of training your people on, first, getting their employee handbook all the way filled out, completed in its entirety, and not allowing them to get into the truck until that is complete. The next thing that you need to have is a handbook on safety, which covers safety of how to load the truck, how to avoid accidents, inclement weather, you know, making sure that, you know, the load is loaded in there correctly, how to maintain safety on a job site. If you're going to a construction site, make sure that they have their vests, make sure they have their hard hats, make sure they have their safety glasses. All of this stuff has to be continued in your training. So first you do the employee manual, then you do the safety manual, and then you do the maintenance manual. So that means a minimum of 3 days training. Okay, by that 3rd day, hopefully you'll have your drug screens back. Okay, that's at least one of the things. The employee itself, they need to make sure that they bring along their training certificate and proof of their last job, so that you can call and make inquiries to their previous employers on how they did, whether they were dismissed because of drug issues or alcohol issues, had they had any wrecks over the last 3 years, 3 to 5 years, depending on how far back you yourself want to go. And also, the next thing that they'll need is the 3rd manual, which is their maintenance manual. This makes sure that they know how to drive the truck appropriately, they know how to maintain the truck, they know how to maintain the trailer. If you have a flatbed, are you all right on straps, tie downs, the little stars, you know, all of the stuff that is required for the flatbed. If you're running a reefer, do you know how to, you know, prime a reefer to get it to start, just in case you accidentally run it out of fuel? Do you know how to set the things? Do you know how to clear an alarm? You know, all of these things need to be asked. Do you know how to make sure that you have enough fuel in there? Do you know when you cannot go below anymore, or you're running the risk of getting a fine? You know, all of these things have to be done. You have to know how to maintain that temperature. You know, you need to know how often you have to check it. All of that stuff is controlled by the FDA. And you have to know how to do it, because if an FDA officer pulls you over, you may have to go through step by step on how to maintain, how to check the oil, how to do all the other stuff that is required on that particular reefer. Now, for your FDA requirements at the terminal, you're also going to have an FDA terminal manual. They just passed new regulations in 2015 that, I believe it's 2015, that require people who have temperature controlled loads, those have to have specific training for those areas. So are you training your associates the right way? Are you training your drivers the right way? That is all stuff that you have to do as an owner. So, you know, here's an example of a maintenance manual. I've not assigned this to any drivers or any of the people, so it's just got the basic thing on there right now. But I mean, there's things in here, you know, on your maintenance. Do you have your maintenance program set up, like for a 90-day audit? You know, all of these things have to be addressed. And if they're not, you're going to be shut down eventually. You might get past, you know, the first new entrant exam, maybe. But you're going to come back and you're going to have a full-time audit. And when you have that audit, if you don't have this information, you're going to be in trouble. Then also, you know, when you do a safety manual, have you taken and had them sign off on it that they've received it? That's information that you as a business owner have to keep on hand. You know, they have to certify that they've received it, and it has to be signed off by other people. You know, and then can they identify things that are wrong with the truck? You know, hold on just a second. I've got some inspection information, you know, that shows pictures and placarding and all of that stuff. You know, it's just really important that whenever you go, and I should have marked this and I didn't, whenever you're going through this with them, you know, like this little chart here. This chart here shows them how to load a trailer. Have you ever been told that? Have you ever been told how to use the triangles? A lot of people get out there and they put their triangles out and they fall down. And why is that? Because they don't know to do the twist at the bottom. You know, there's things that as a driver you should know how to do. And also, again, here, if you'll notice, let me cover up his name. In this particular manual, you'll notice right here, you have your safety manual for loading a refrigerated trailer, the best practices. Okay? Have they signed off on that? Do they know how to do that? You know, that's all stuff that needs to be taken care of. Also, your vehicle inspection. You know, how are you maintaining those when they find problems? Are you watching it? Are you making sure it's being taken care of? Are you like recording it into your book? A lot of people are not, you know. Now I'm going to take you over toward the maintenance one. And some of the things that people miss, you know, whenever they're going through this is, you know, checking like the parking brakes, the rear axles. Let's look at this. I mean, here is a picture that is in my manuals that I've put together. Okay, these are the inspections of things that they need to be going over on a daily basis. Are you sure that they're not just going through and just saying, yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine? You know, how are you going to keep your motor up? You know, how are you going to keep from having stupid stuff happen to your motor? I mean, you've invested several $1,000s on that. This manual goes through every part. It teaches them. Make sure that they have a good understanding. And when they're finished with this, they have to sign off on it. That way, in case something happens, you know, they can be held accountable. Because you've went through, you've showed them, okay, you know, and let me show you. Like, this is some of the pictures. They have to identify and explain what is wrong with that particular picture. And the thing is this is long-term damage. You know, these things have been done. This is what the auditors check for when they're looking underneath your truck. When's the last time you actually looked underneath there? I mean, you can look on these damages and see, you know, What's wrong with this picture? Identify what happened. You know, how did that happen? And why didn't you see it before? This is stuff that, you know, different auditors have shown me that this is stuff that they've found during audits. And I mean, it's not on this trucking company, but it's on others. You know, identify what's wrong with the picture. You know, here's one. There's a great example of something that is going to bad happen. You know, that's going to pop. It has nothing to hold on to. It's not secured. And this one here, a lot of people don't even know what's wrong. Look at that. Is it this? No, it's up here. Where's this other brake pad? You know, these are things that you need to be able to identify and make sure that your drivers can identify. You know, look, boom. Do you think that's an accident waiting to happen? Look at here. You know, you cannot drive on a flat tire. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to drive 5 or 10 miles to get up here to such and such and get this tire fixed. You know, any damage you cause, any scrap you leave on the highway, if they catch you, you're responsible for. There you go. There's some more. You know. So, you as a company, not only you as a driver, are expected to keep this stuff updated to make sure that your employees know what's going on. And the reason why you tell them, hey, I've got to do what I've got to do because I've got these manuals here and I've got to be able to pass my audits when they happen. So everything has to be documented. And if you're not having it documented, you are going to face a bad audit. And it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt bad. And if you find yourself where you don't have all of these, you know, and I've showed them fairly quickly, you know, that's an employer binder, an employee binder, that's for the office staff. You have to have driver binders. You have to have safety binders for your terminal and your driver. Even if you work from home, that's still what is considered your terminal. Your maintenance binders for your terminal and for your driver. You also have to have a FDA reefer trailer regulations binder. You have to have a binder for your truck. For each truck, you have to have a binder for your business. You have to have a safety hazmat book in every truck. You also have to have your safety devices, the high-resolution vest, the hard hat, the glasses, all of that stuff. It has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed by you, the driver, or by you, the owner. You know, you got to maintain these. If you yourself are finding your company not able to you know, get the time to do all of this, that's where I come in, and I would be glad to help you get everything done. We can talk about costs whenever I actually see what you have and how I can get it put together for you, so that you can you know, so that you can meet all the requirements of the audit that you're going to be subjected to. So anyway, my name is Linda Jenkins, and I help people, you know, get to where they can pass their OSHA, FMCSA, and DOT audits. So if I can help you in any way, please feel free to comment below, and then like and share this video. Let everybody see it so that they know that if they need help, there is help out there, and I'll be glad to assist you on it. Thank you guys. Y'all have a fantastic day, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye guys. Bye.